Hi guys, it's Amazing Purple Girl back with the excavation of Hobb's Barrow. This is part 2. We started off arriving by train in Bewlay, met a few of the locals, tried to find Leonard's shoulder, no sign of him, and we went to sleep. So let's get into it. So here we are, starting day 1 in Bewlay, and we still need to find that blasted Leonard shoulder.
Good morning, Miss Bateman.
Good day, Stanley.
Did you sleep well, Miss Bateman?
Tell the truth.
Not really. I have the rather queer recollection of a cat entering my room last night.
A cat, you say?
Yes, an odd-looking grey one. I must have been dreaming, as I locked the door and windows before I went to sleep. I saw a similar cat in the lavatories while searching for Mr. Tillett.
Ah, Herbert. Oh, he's a harmless thing. He comes in now and then searching for scraps.
Indeed. Seeing him in the lavatories must have conjured up the strange dream.
The mind is capable of manifesting frightful things, Miss Bateman. I'm happy to report the rain of yesterday has lifted. It's a clear morning outside. Crisp.
Capital.
I've prepared a room for your assistant. What time will he be arriving today?
His train will get in around midday. Kenneth will also be bringing my excavation equipment.
Oh, aye. What does that entail?
Picks, shovels, buckets, lighting and such. He usually packs it in a large crate. Come to think of it, I'll need somewhere to store it.
You're welcome to use the alley behind the inn for any such bulky items.
That sounds capital, thank you.
You're most welcome, Miss Bateman. We look after our guests here at the Plough and Furrow. I'll let you get on with your day.
I'll be back with my assistant when he arrives.
Thank you, Mr.
Miss
Kemp.
Bateman,
Yes?
I've something I wish to get off my chest, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I've been tossing and turning all night, Miss Bateman. I feel rotten, I really do.
What on earth are you talking about?
As you know, I like to run an honest establishment. And well, I have not been honest with you, lass.
I've been nothing but honest with you.
I do know of Hobb's Barrow.
What?
You do?
I do. Many here do.
They
There
do?
are stories tied to that place, you know. If I've learned anything in this life, it's that some stones are best left unturned. Old Leonard's shoulder is someone to be wary of too.
My
I can't
goodness.
tell you what to do, lass, but you'd best avoid him.
Oh my. You're telling me this now?
Why must I be wary of Mr. Shoulder?
The man has a certain reputation.
Really?
For what?
You've seen it already. Were he here to meet you last night?
No.
Precisely. A man not to be trusted.
Not to be trusted? What would the world come to?
Where does Mr. Shoulder live?
I can't say for sure. As I think I told you last night, he's a quiet man and keeps to himself. He only comes in here to collect his post. Leads me to believe he lives a fair distance away. Certainly not in the village itself.
Mm-hmm.
Might someone around Bewlay be able to help me find him?
You could ask around. As I say, lass, Bewlay folk mean well. Don't forget that.
See.
Why lie to me about Hobb's Barrow?
I know, lass, I know. I feel dreadful.
But why? What are these stories you speak of?
I really can't tell you more. If you insist on visiting that place, you'll have to seek out Mr. Shoulder. He brought you here. He should be the one to tell you.
Well, if I can find him.
I must say, Mr. Kemp, this is all quite puzzling. I've never let local superstitions stop me in the past. I pride myself on being a woman of logic and reason. I've no time to waste on such matters.
As I say, seek out Mr. Shoulder. He can tell you more.
You told me to avoid him, and now you're telling me to seek him out. If I can find him.
Where is Hobb's Barrow?
I don't know. I say that on my mother's grave, Miss Bateman.
I now find that hard to believe.
The moors are vast, lass. I'd tend not to go wandering out there. A grown man could lose himself and not be seen again.
I shall return later.
Good day to you, lass.
Good day to you.
It seems I may be fighting a battle against some sort of local superstition. Is there a single barrow in England that doesn't have some ghastly tale attached to it?
I doubt it.
Hogwash. All of it. I
Pure
have a few hours until
hogwash.
Kenneth arrives. I should use this time to find Mr. Shoulder.
Pure hogwash. My map has updated though. And who are these young people?
Good day.
Hello, miss.
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Betty.
Nice to meet you, Betty. What are you up to?
My brother is practicing his sword fighting technique. I'm to watch him until he tires himself out.
I'm tireless!
Yep.
This time last month it were all about his teaspoon collection. This month it's swords.
I don't know why it repeated lus. It didn't do that when I was beta testing.
Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What do you know of Hobb's Barrow?
Our parents don't like us talking to strangers, miss.
So you know of it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye, miss.
Hello,
Yes?
my name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Douglas?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Douglas. That's a great sword technique you have.
Thanks, miss. Mr. Crozier's gonna make me a real one when I turn 12. I'm preparing myself to fight the lantern worm.
What is the lantern worm?
It's gonna come back and get us all. John Lantern thought he killed it at the River Ware, but my father told me it still lives. We must all be prepared.
The lantern worm isn't real, Douglas.
Good
Father
thing.
just told you that to get you out of his hair.
Not true. I saw it slithering out by the beck, like a giant eel it were. I ran home so fast I thought I would fly.
Sorry, miss. My brother has a vivid imagination.
Children often do at his age.
I'll keep training. You will all thank me when I thrust my sword deep into its fat belly.
Douglas, this lady doesn't want to hear your nonsense.
I would be very grateful. It sounds horrific.
Do you like living in Bewlay?
Yeah, I do. Are you from the city?
I'm from a long way away.
You must have come on the train. I love watching all the steam puff up into the sky.
Have you been on the train yourself?
No, miss. Our parents don't have the money for train tickets. Father says we have all we need here in Bewlay.
Perhaps this nice lady would like to take you away with her on the train.
No, I need to stay and protect Bewlay from the lantern worm.
Of course. Got an important job to do, Douglas.
Do you know a man called Leonard Shoulder?
That's a funny name.
Have you heard of Hobb's Barrow?
What's that?
A local burial mound.
Our parents don't let us wander far from the village.
What's a burial mound?
Don't you mind about that, Douglas.
Who's Mr. Crozier?
He's a blacksmith. His forge is just over there on the other side of the square.
Don't you think 12 years of age is a little young for a real sword?
I'll be a master swordsman by then.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, miss.
Right, moving on. Let's go to the church and see this lady.
Hello.
Good day. Would you like to buy one of these cakes, pet?
What kind of
What kind of cakes do you have?
I have some lovely Bakewell puddings. The sweetest marriage of almond and jam. I can tell you're not from around here, because if you were, you would know about my Bakewell puddings.
Oh, of course.
They are quite famous.
Extremely
Alas,
famous.
I'm not carrying any money with me.
That's unfortunate, pet. I'm sorry. I can't give them away for free. The money goes to the church, you see.
Well.
And one cannot shirk one's duty to the church.
Quite right.
I understand.
Myself.
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Mrs. de Plancy.
A pleasure to meet you, Mrs. de Plancy.
Likewise, pet.
Tell me about yourself, Mrs. de Plancy.
About me? What would you possibly want to know about me? I've been attending St. Edmund's Church my whole life. I always want to help where I can, so I sell my baked goods and all the proceeds go to its upkeep.
Wow.
This place means so much to me.
Your cakes look delicious.
I can assure you they are. You'll not find better in the entire county.
Better get that Kenneth here quickly so I've got some money to buy some then.
What can you tell me about St. Edmund's Church?
Isn't it the finest building? It's been standing here since the 12th century. The box pews in the nave are very fine and date back to the 17th century.
Old.
The door is open if you'd like to worship.
Thank you, Mrs. de Plancy. Do you know a local man called Leonard Shoulder?
Yes, I know Leonard.
Leonard.
What business do you have with him?
It's a long story, but
Where
I'm
is he?
trying to find where he lives.
I'm afraid I don't know, dear.
Dear.
Father Roach has access to the parish register. He might be able to help you.
Ah, a lead.
Where can I find Father Roach?
At this time of day, he'll be taking his exercise in Herne Wood, to the west of the village.
Thank you. I'll go find him.
Be sure to listen out for his merry whistling. Such a jolly man.
Okay.
What do you know of Hobb's Barrow?
Hobbs what?
Hobb's Barrow, a local burial mound.
The only place of burial I know about and care for is in this very churchyard.
Well, yes, I guess that makes sense. Why is there a barrow then?
Thank you for your time.
Lord be with you.
And also with you. Should we go and see this church? It's very pretty. There you see.
Goodness me, look at these box pews.
They're amazing.
I've never seen any as tall as that before. Most unusual architecture, even for the Normans.
Why, Thomasina, they're almost as tall as yourself.
The pews are contained within compartments that can be locked. I've seen a similar design in other Norman churches around England, but this is a particularly impressive example.
I'm pretty sure I've never seen a box pew in real life.
Stained glass depictions of various biblical scenes. It's not my specialist area.
Got the
Those have
flowers.
seen better days. A memorial list of former vicars. They stretch back several hundred years.
Very old church. And what is this?
Someone has left a necklace hanging here. A silver cross. Sterling by the look of it. Maybe I can reunite it with its owner.
Maybe. Or maybe we have other ideas for that item. Right, we'll go this way to the woods. Oh, there's his whistling. It's funny, I heard his whistling and now he stopped. This is a delightful scene. Is not a well man. Yuck. Right in front of a lady as well.
I'm very sorry.
I'd hope so.
Oh, the shame.
I know.
This malaise will not pass. Oh, the nausea. I need your help, young lady.
Tell me what you need.
Let the blood from my arm.
What?
Excuse accuse me?
Got me. I beg you.
Lovely. Really, though? Really?
I don't wish to look too closely.
No, I wouldn't either.
The vicar's spectacles lie broken on the forest floor.
Let's pick them up then, because that's how we need to cut his arm.
Ouch. The broken lens is extremely sharp.
Well, yes, it's glass, dear. Sorry, see that bird? Oh. Ah, yes. Handkerchief, I think.
This handkerchief was a gift from my mother. I hope she will understand.
Oh, I hope she will too.
This should work.
Okay. In the broken glass with the vicar.
Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yep,
Yes, it will cure me of my ills.
sure it will.
I shall do as you ask, Father.
Very odd practice, bloodletting. Ugh, the blood. Again, horror game.
Thank the Lord for my spare pair.
Yep.
God bless you. I already feel quite better.
I'm glad, Father.
The rapid healing properties of bloodletting cannot be overstated. I'm Frederick Roach, vicar of St. Edmund's Church.
My name is Thomasina Bateman. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a wonder we don't still do bloodletting, really.
Are you feeling better?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
What ails you, Father Roach?
I just ate a rotten berry, that's all. I like to pick blackberries for my supper, you see. They are quite delicious, as long as you mind the bramble. My apologies again. I wish we had met in different circumstances.
Are you from Bewlay originally?
I was born in our very own St. Edmund's. It's quite the story.
Do tell.
Oh,
My
yes.
mother was sheltering there as a frightful tempest raged. And lo, did her waters break right there and then in that pew.
My
One could
goodness.
say that you were born into your role, Father.
Indeed. When my mother told me the story as a young boy, I knew that this was my calling.
Church.
St. Edmund's is a fine building.
Thank you for saying so. It's
You're
hard
welcome.
work keeping her in good shape, but our congregation is always willing to lend a hand in the Lord's name.
What is it like being the vicar here?
Every day is a blessing, my child. I have a great love for our parish, and the Lord looks after us.
What about your congregation?
Numbers have fallen over the years, I must say.
Have they?
But those that remain are faithful and full of His Spirit.
Well, I'm glad you still have some. I'm going Leonard last, I think.
What do you know of Hobb's Barrow?
I can't say I've heard of it.
It's supposedly a famous local landmark.
I'm afraid I know nothing about it.
Well, that's what Stanley says.
What can you tell me about Bewlay?
It's a quiet town. The railway line, which I presume you arrived by, is the only news of note we've had here for years.
I've heard the new station has received a mixed reaction.
I've heard many a debate, it's true. But my role is not to adjudicate on that matter. I'm very busy in my own work, you see.
I'm looking for Mr. Leonard Shoulder.
Oh, yes? Are you a relative?
No, it's a long story, but he invited me to Bewlay.
And he didn't tell you his address?
He was to meet me last night at the Plough and Furrow, but he never came.
I see. Well, let me welcome you to Bewlay on his behalf.
Oh,
Thank you, Father.
Last question?
Do you know where Mr. Shoulder lives?
Let me think. It's been many moons since I've paid him a visit.
Perhaps you could allow me to take a look at the parish register.
No need. I remember it now.
Oh,
A fair
no.
hike across the moors.
You mustn't look at that.
Could you please give me directions?
I'll take you there myself. It's the least I can do after you aided me so.
Capital. Thank you.
Just let me know when you're ready to pay him a visit. I'll be resting here for the time being.
It's just the way he very quickly says, "Oh, no need." Oh yeah, what are you hiding?
I'm ready to go to Mr. Shoulder's house.
Excellent. I feel the fresh air will do me well.
Yeah, I
Follow
think
me.
you need it. Let's go, Thomasina. Or TB as I was calling her during testing, because it was easier to type.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Mrs. Duplancy. Mrs. Duplancy, this is Thomasina Bateman,
We met.
a visitor to our parish.
We've already had the pleasure of meeting, Father.
Excellent. Miss Bateman, don't hesitate to try one of Mrs. Duplancy's wonderful cakes.
Yes, I've heard about her famous Bakewell puddings.
I'll be here all day, young lady. But remember, once they're gone, they're gone. Those little whelps have already gobbled up all the gingerbread.
You are doing God's
Nice.
work, Mrs. Duplancy.
He smiles upon us, Father.
Miss Bateman, if you'd like to follow me.
Of course. I prefer gingerbread to Bakewell because I don't like cherries.
Let's talk of graves, of worms, and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes, write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors, and talk of wills.
Shakespeare?
Quite. Which play?
I have to use my memory. I think it was Richard II.
Richard II?
Correct.
Oh, good.
You are well read, Miss Bateman. Studying the work of the bard is one of my favorite pastimes. Follow me.
No, I just had to remember it. You just get told, no, that's wrong, if you give the wrong answer.
Behold, the vast expanse of God's creation.
Oh,
The
hi.
moors extend as far as the mortal eye can see.
Behold, behold.
Beautiful, is it not?
Yes. Very, pixelated.
Indeed. The moors are beautiful.
The beauty of God's creation is that it takes so many forms. How can one take in such a view and not have faith? Some look at these moors and think this a godless land. But
They
I tell
do.
you, he is found in all domains. The Lord's work is all about us. Tell me, Miss Bateman, do you believe in God?
Must tell the truth.
I was brought up Anglican. The church was an important part of my early life, Father Roach. But what happened to my father eventually made me question things.
If you don't mind me asking, my child, what happened to your father?
He had an accident when I was very young.
Ah, I forgot about this bit.
Come along now, Thomasina. Let's get out of the rain.
Okay, Mummy.
Remember what I told you, all right? Be a good girl. People are unwell here. They don't want to hear you running about making noise. Understood?
Yes, Mother.
Good. And don't annoy the nurses.
I promise I won't.
Good. Now, let's see your father.
Oh dear, Mummy's very upset.
Daddy, wake up! Daddy is sleeping. Mummy? Mummy?
Good evening, Mr. Bateman. Hello, little one. You must be Thomasina?
Yes.
My name is Nurse Blaketon. I just need to talk to your mummy for a little bit.
Just a bit.
I'm sorry to disturb you, Mrs. Bateman. Mrs. Bateman?
Will he ever talk again, Nurse Blaketon?
The doctor is uncertain, Mrs. Bateman. There is the possibility that Mr. Bateman won't regain any movement at all. But we will do our utmost to look after Mr. Bateman here at Ticehurst Manor. He will have a nurse by his side at all times, I can assure you.
Oh dear. Poor mummy.
What sort of god would allow this fate to befall such a kind and honest man?
I'm sorry to hear this. God moves in mysterious ways, but he loves us all. Come along now.
This does remind me of Wuthering Heights, all this scenery out on the moors. Something that I studied at college.
Hello?
She gone.
She scampered off in a hurry. Who was that?
Some primitive folk make their home out on the moors. I suggest you keep your wits about you when you are exploring, and don't stray too far from Bewlay.
Never.
I see. How much farther to Mr. Shoulder's house?
Still quite a walk, I'm afraid. But
My
we'll get to
goodness.
him soon enough. Now then, take a look at this.
What are you going to show me, Father?
Legend has it that this cairn has stood here for over 1,000 years.
My
How
word.
remarkable.
The Devil's Toe.
Really?
I beg your pardon?
That's what it's called. The Devil's Toe.
Oh, I see.
Come now, onward.
It's not that toe-like, but okay.
We walked and walked across that vast, featureless landscape. All the while, Father Roach was whistling away merrily. Just as I had begun to wonder if we were hopelessly lost, a building emerged from the mist. Mr. Shoulder's cottage.
Here's Mr. Shoulder's cottage.
Here we are, Miss Bateman. Unless my memory fails me completely, this is Mr. Leonard Shoulder's house.
Thank you for your help, Father Roach.
Now, no need to thank me after your providential assistance today. However, I have something to ask you.
Yes?
Please don't tell Mrs. de Plancy about my little scene in the woods. She will only fret. The poor dear woman has enough on her mind as it is.
I shan't mention it.
Thank you. You'd better see if Mr. Shoulder is in.
Seems quite dishonest to me.
Mr. Shoulder?
Oh, kick the
Is
door.
Thomasina Bateman here? I'm here in Bewlay as discussed.
No answer.
Maybe try again. His hearing probably isn't the best at his age.
Mr. Shoulder, are you home?
Are you?
It appears Mr. Shoulder is not at home.
Smash a window.
Curses.
Perhaps you could try the handle.
It's locked.
Dear. What's all that about?
A sweet little hen, plump and well groomed.
And so, you're gonna pick one
Here, chuk chuk chuk.
Don't encourage them.
up. Got one.
Care to hold one, Father Roach?
Put that thing down, would you?
You're no fun.
Hey, my first achievement in this run. I obviously didn't do that in the testing. What is this? Looks like a one of these.
That glove looks familiar. I wonder if it matches the glove I found behind the plough and furrow. The gloves are a pair.
It
Does this
was.
mean Mr. Shoulder was in the alley last night?
It was Leonard Shoulder.
Why didn't he come inside to see me?
He ran away from you.
Mr. Shoulder must have dropped the matching glove last night. What was he doing in the alley? Rather rude of him not to come inside and see me.
No, he was running away from you, but he wouldn't have known it was you.
A pair of thick woolen trousers. A woolen undergarment.
I say.
Mr. Shoulder has stacked blocks of wood neatly beneath this small lean-to.
Very neat and tidy.
I thought I was talking to myself. Oh my lord. Okay.
What else do you know about Mr. Shoulder?
A reclusive man. I must say I know very little about him.
Does he attend services at St. Edmund's?
Not regularly, if at all these days.
Perhaps he feels closer to God out here on the moors. What do you make of Mr. Shoulder's residence?
A sturdy construction, I'm in no doubt. The winds blow a gale out here, not to mention the pelting rain.
At least he must have plenty of eggs to eat.
Awful creatures, those hens.
I agree. Chickens are a nuisance. They're noisy and smelly. And that's speaking from experience, because we used to keep chickens in the garden.
Do you know that young girl we saw?
No, but I've seen her sneaking around the churchyard. The poor thing is feral. She takes off at the slightest stirring. We will bring the Lord to her. Good time.
Perhaps she has her own beliefs. You said there were others like her.
Primitive folk, yes. Avoid the moors in hours of darkness and don't wander too far. I wouldn't entrust a young woman in their company.
Do you know anything else about the Devil's Toe?
Not really. I do recall it toppling over when I was a child.
Oh,
A few lads from Bewlay rebuilt it to the best of their memories.
The devil mustn't have been happy.
Come now, my child. Do not joke about such matters.
That's probably why it doesn't look so much like a toe now.
Why don't you like hens, Father?
I know I must love all of God's creatures, but they make such an unholy ruckus,
Yep.
and their talons claw at my boots.
But they mean no
That
harm.
problem.
And they provide eggs.
I cannot abide hens' eggs. The smell of sulphur when rotten.
Don't let them go rotten. I don't have a problem with the talons, but they do rather rip up a garden.
What more can you tell me of these primitive folk?
Godless people, Miss Bateman. Don't concern yourself with them. They live out there on the very edges of this land. If you don't wander too far, you shouldn't cross their path.
You mentioned that Mrs. Duplancy is worried about something at the moment.
It is not my place to say. Mrs. Duplancy will tell you in good time, if she deems it fit to do so.
What is your favourite of Shakespeare's works?
A very difficult question, Miss Bateman. But one I can answer, nonetheless. I am awfully fond of Cymbeline.
Lesser
An
known.
unusual choice.
All gold and silver rather turn to dirt. Wouldn't you agree?
A fine quote. Is there a Mrs. Shoulder?
No. I believe Mr. Shoulder has led a life of celibacy.
Thank you for your time.
Lord be with you.
Oh, hang on.
The trousers feel damp. Freshly hung or still wet from last night's rain?
Oh, look in the window. That's right.
No sign of life?
None. The window is nice and clean. The dwelling is by no means abandoned.
Perhaps he's gone for a stroll.
Possibly.
I'd suggest you call back later, my child. I myself must make
There
my
we
way
go.
back home. I have some matters to attend to at the church. Shall I accompany you back to Bewlay?
Yes, please.
Let's go.
As I say, my child, Mr. Shoulder will make himself known.
Well, I'm
Do
sure
not
he will.
lose faith.
I'm rather frustrated by this situation.
Now. Things move at a slower pace out here. Something you may not be so accustomed to. Come now, Miss Bateman.
I'm sure he exists.
Well, Mr. Shoulder, you've brought me to Bewlay, and now you're nowhere to be found. As we trudged silently back to Bewlay across those cold moors, I made a new resolution. I would find Hobb's Barrow myself, with or without Mr. Shoulder. The train!
The train.
That must be Kenneth,
Kenneth?
my assistant.
I see. Well, Miss Bateman, I really must attend to some other matters. I hope Mr. Shoulder finds his way to you.
Thank you for your help, Father Roach.
My pleasure. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Correct. That I shall say good night till it be morrow. Lord be with you.
I should go meet Kenneth at the station.
I should. But that's something to do in the next video. I think I've run a bit long. I only want to do half an hour on each video. But I probably should have stopped at Mr. Shoulder's house. Never mind. So, as I say, we'll go meet Kenneth at the station in the next video. And for now, I shall say bye.